that's a good point. All right. You ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
Officially?
Yeah.
Okay. We're here with, what we can say is water damage daily, right? And so we want to protect the identity of the innocent and the, I'm trying to think of those, the intro to Law and Order or something like that. But
in the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
not that dramatic. So you started, I look back, it looked like Water Damage Daily started February 11th, 2019. It looks like was your first post. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. That sounds pretty accurate. I couldn't tell you which one my first post was, but I think that sounds right. February-ish of
I'm
last
trying to
year.
remember. I know fairly early in there, it might not have been the first one. It was an Office meme or something like that.
I think the Michael Scott when you get a call on a Friday or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about
Yeah.
right. It's in the early in there. So, okay, so you work in the industry, and you're on Instagram because you have nothing better to do, right? And then you decide to launch this, or what was the impetus to get the thing going?
I love Gary Vaynerchuk
Okay.
and kind of his whole thing that he pushes,
Yeah.
and just finding new ways and kind of taking over with social media and stuff. So I started doing our business Instagram, and I think, to me, just with how much I put into it and
Yeah.
kind of success we've seen, I think it's probably top 5 Instagram pages in our industry. But I'm a little biased there.
Yeah.
So what I started to do is, I think it's some funny stuff sometimes, or at least I think I do. My wife thinks I'm kind of dumb, but I always say, as long as I laugh, I'm happy. If someone else laughs, it's a bonus, right?
Yep.
So I started making these, and I found that app, and I follow a couple other pages like mine that just talk about other topics, and
Yeah.
asked that account, hey, what app do you use? I found the app and started making these videos, and it just started rolling. I mean, sometimes I'll make 5 to 10 at a time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm at a loss and I'm just not feeling it. So,
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think anybody that does social media and tries to find that balance, that's true. You get inspired and
Right.
you want to bank a couple of them. So maybe so you have the company social media, and that's, a lot of people struggle with that. How do you find that balance of, so many people think social media is just hey, look, this is our guys doing work. Wouldn't you want to hire us? We're the best.
No.
Oh, no.
It's okay.
Adam, come on.
Stupid.
No,
we'll try you off.
Very dumb.
Stupid.
Let's go to the bathroom.
That's pretty much
Right.
the tagline, right? What have you learned about, I guess, social media for your company that you feel like has been helpful and effective?
Well, like you said, you see the, hey, hire us, call us type of
We're the
stuff.
best.
And yeah, we're the best. And, that's what everybody says. We obviously want to stay consistent. That's a big thing. But what I've tried to do is just try to educate people a little bit. Q&As, people love before and afters. Tell a story, really.
You're part of
telling the story of that loss.
You're a storyteller.
So if we're telling the story of the loss,
It's the lack of care.
Is kind of what it's been. And show your face. Not enough people show your face. I mean, when you're out there trying to build a company, and people want to see a face, they want to know somebody, they want to know personality. So that's what I've tried to do, and I think we've had some pretty good success.
like in the sense of a selfie, like here I am at the job site type of thing, or
Tell them who you are and explain what's going on. Our business is not sexy. What we do is not sexy.
Yeah.
And what's hard is being able to stay present when you never know who's going to need you. It's not like we're an HVAC company or a plumber or whatever. I mean, there's some plumbers that follow us. But in water damage restoration, you never know who's going to need you. So you got to get real creative and stay present in that aspect.
Yeah. Well, and so many pages, it's like they're marketing to other restoration companies, right? Like using words like, I think even mitigation, right? If you look at the metrics, somebody looking up mold is not looking up mold remediation. They're looking up mold removal or black stuff on my wall, or, I mean, that's just like base level SEO or something like that. But, you know, using industry speak in your marketing to inline users is not going to be a positive.
Right. No, you're right. And you know, talking about how you can help them with their insurance carrier, not that you're against them, but you've been doing this for some time. You know how to price things, you know how to work with their insurance and stuff like that. And explaining what a deductible is. How many people don't know what a deductible is? Yeah. Or how that works. Just stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think those are great for, you know, the general thing. And then obviously, so you started this and you've kept yourself, try to keep the account separate and hence the protective gear. And so what about what keeps you, because I don't think you've monetized Water Damage Daily, right? It's not something, and you're not driving traffic to your business. So what keeps you going with it?
No, you know what? I'm not monetizing it. You know, it'd be cool if an opportunity arose, if Contractor Connection or one of these, you know, one of these.
Yeah.
What's the one in Vegas? The Experience.
Yeah,
you know, if they had us, had us there, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But you know, I just think it's fun, and kind of had so many followers now that I feel like I owe it to them to get some videos up every day, you know, and bring it. And it's cool to see how many people watch the videos.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll range to 500, 600. And, you know, to me, that's a little bit of a failure. But there's some videos that hit and they're like 1,700 views. Yeah. And I'm surprised sometimes which videos hit and which ones don't. But you guys have a sick sense of humor, I guess.
Well, I've for the Diojo podcast, I think I told you I started using them, like try to make a small hype video for each guest, and it's challenging to find. We were talking about this offline, online videos that you can use that there's the rights to, right, without getting yourself into trouble, and then what you can put. There's like 3 lines of text, right? And so, trying to dial it in to where it conveys what you're trying to convey is a challenge, almost Twitter used to be a lot tighter, right? And now they're getting that up some, but getting a point across in a short segment and then aligning it with that video is tricky.
News team, assemble!
I've had some people out there that, that are pretty loyal and they come up with some stuff. And I love to throw that in there. It's probably 98% of the time what I'm thinking. Yeah. And the other 2% are some ideas here and there. But what I tell people, anyone that DMs me, I always tell them, hey, if you have something that you're thinking of or whatever, send me a message. And like we mentioned before, it's not always possible given the app that I use. Not every single movie's on there. So I always try to do my best to implement what they said. And try to make a video out of it. If I didn't make a video out of what you said, I apologize. I did make an effort though, I promise.
Yeah. No, like you said, there's like a couple I follow, like Union, there's Adjuster Memes. There's a couple others. It seems like each industry has, and some of them are more active than others. So I meant to ask, I know we want to protect your identity, but what's most people don't set out to necessarily be in this industry. And without giving away too much, what got you into the industry and what has your background been?
So we have a family business, and
nice.
We've been doing it for quite some time. My grandfather and my grandmother started it, and they did it as a janitorial service, and then it went from carpet cleaning to water damage restoration to getting the general contractors side of it into it, and that's where we're at today. So I kind of got drug into it, and I get along with my with my my family members, and I figured why not? It's to me it's a blessing to be able to work with them and to be a part of what they've built. So I figured why not? I like to help people, and I think this is a good opportunity. So
Yeah, I'm sure there's challenges. There's days that are better than others, right?
sure.
And you've got kids. When they work together, it's beautiful, and when they're at each other, it's just
It's the end of the world.
So did you step away for a while and try other things, or did you when you graduated high school and were looking at careers and those kinds of things, did you jump in?
I went and got my degree at a 4-year university and my bachelor's.
Nice.
Got married and came back, and it was kind of always the plan to go into business with my father, and kind of just hit the ground running and learn here and there, and got to wear like 30 different hats just to get a good feel for every aspect of the business and the industry and stuff like that. So it was always kind of in the works.
Well, in your, I think I asked earlier about the YouTube page. So on your Instagram link, you link to the Ed Cross, Bill Loveland Exactimate conversation.
I have the Ed Cross video on there because I just think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And we need someone like that in our industry to kind of help push those things forward. So
are you planning to get into YouTube and those kinds of things? I'm sure that's been a thought.
I have thought about it. As of right now, I'm just so busy with what we have going on that I don't have a lot of time to put towards that.
Yeah.
I know Gary Vaynerchuk would tell me to suck it up and stay up later and make and create content. But I got the family here, and my wife is gracious enough to let me be involved as much as I am, and she sees the greater picture.
Yeah.
So I try to get and devote as much time as I can once I get home to my wife and the kids. So.
Well, I think you were mentioning offline that you do some work in the community and stuff like that too. So you're a busy guy.
Yeah.
With
we got a lot of
young kids. That's there's not a lot of free time.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And it goes by. I'm sure you've heard that 1,000 times. It really does go by fast. So make sure you enjoy it, because it's boom.
Just like that. No, it's true.
Well, I think I told you that my oldest is graduating this year, so it's and it seems like just yesterday. So
wild.
Yeah. Well, do you have, what do you think, speaking of, I guess, social marketing, the comedy of the industry, and then current events, do you have thoughts on, where we're at with companies doing COVID cleaning in the restoration industry?
Obviously there's a need. But what, like Ed Cross was explaining recently, was you got to be careful with liability issues.
And so one of the challenges is going to be for the contractor to establish evidence about the limitations of the available information at the time the job was performed. It's not the standard of care, obviously, to perform work according to the level of some technology or some science that has not yet been developed or discovered.
Yeah.
But if you don't have something clear in your file about what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it, where you're doing it, then you're running into trouble. And so when we talk about documentation, we want to have a file set up in a way so that a third party looking at the file years later, who has no knowledge of the background of the job and does not have eyewitnesses available to interview, can understand the who, what, where, when, and why of the job, and basically recapitulate the main events of the project simply by reading the file. And unfortunately, a lot of restoration contractors are not as diligent as they could be about creating that sort of documentation.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of guys in our industry are super gung-ho and not really the best managers of the business to think of those things as far as liabilities. And I would just, be careful. There is a need. Hopefully that we're able, or somebody's able to develop some type of I know there's some environmental companies out there with protocols and stuff, but it's not a perfect. Not a perfect science, but just make sure you get the right paperwork signed and be honest and transparent with the people. like I said, as you know, once you clean it up, someone could come in and disinfect it or reinfect it, excuse me, right away.
Yeah.
So you just have to be open and transparent, because to ease someone's mind and their emotions, whatever they're feeling, it might be worth it to them to pay that money to have you do the cleaning and take the risk of it being recontaminated. So just be open, honest, and transparent with people. And, I think that's what's best in our industry, and, being honest with people. What we do is a need, but don't scare people into things. Just be honest with them.
The fear tactics. Well, like you said, your grandparents had a cleaning company, and then, that's our industry evolved out of carpet cleaners, janitors, and, contractors. That this insurance kind of came in, and, our history as an industry is figuring ways out to do things right. So, and creating value. And I know that's a lot of friends I have in the industry, they have customers calling them asking for this, so
Sure.
if people need it and their companies are telling them to, this needs to be done. And like you said, that peace of mind, then, and I think that was part of what Ed was saying too, is, just think through what is your value proposition and communicate that clearly.
Right.
And which is what we should be doing regardless, right? Like, it's not just business as usual, churn. It's what value are we creating and how are we charging for it? And
there's no one else that's going to do it other than us. We're the guys. Yeah. I mean, like I mentioned kind of earlier when we were discussing, there's a company in one of our followers in New York, and they're not doing any water damage or fire stuff. It's all COVID cleaning, because no one wants them in their house. So they got to figure out how to stay busy and keep their people paid. So and it's obviously, I think of high density areas we've got Seattle here, which initially was one of the highest, and thankfully our numbers are trending down. Good.
But yeah, that's, you see the videos of in China, they're going through and basically spraying bleach, they got trucks bleaching the whole city.
Crazy.
I can't help but wonder, the collateral damage from that, down the road. But
I don't think they care.
But people smarter than me are making those decisions, hopefully. So I think, to circle back around, just do you have any other thoughts on like social media? I think so many contractors dabble, and I'd be in that boat. Is there any other tricks and tips that do you have one? Maybe let's phrase it this way: do you have one do and one don't? One thing people should stop doing, and one thing people should really consider start doing if they want to optimize their social media efforts?
One don't, I would say, is, a lot of the national franchise companies, they send out these super generic posts.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. This is what mold is, and it has their logo. Yeah. That's a waste of time. That's wasting somebody's space in their feed. I skip right over those. I think they're dumb.
Yeah.
Get on there. Let someone see your face. Explain what mold is. Explain some of those health hazards, and be personable about it. Educate the people and give them a face. The do's, don't be. Well, I guess that's a don't, but don't be scared, I guess. The first video I ever posted, it was just a story, and I sat in my truck for 30 minutes.
Oh, dang.
And erased and recorded and erased and recorded.
Yep.
So what you should do is get in front of the camera. Don't be afraid. This is an industry where there's a lot of old contractors. Yeah. And no offense, but it's an old industry. Yeah. And I'm trying to take advantage of that. And, we don't get a lot of work from Instagram. Right. But people are starting to recognize in our community, in our area of service, oh, hey, you work for, no, I'm not going to say it.
Hey! Yeah, Dan? You have any more of that gum? That's none of your damn business, and I'll thank you to stay out of my personal affairs.
But you're going to have to bleep that out for me. Hey, you work for that company. I've seen that guy on Instagram. Or, oh, you're that guy. Or you work with that guy. Stuff like that. Let people know who you are. But, I don't know, just get in front of the camera and be yourself and be real. And I think that's what people want most. Yeah, that's, well, and that's, thinking about going back to the COVID thing, thinking about what value you're offering, right? And exactly that. I don't know
for me personally, I've always written and I enjoy writing. It's something I can do that doesn't really take a lot of energy for me. And I've had friends encourage me for a while to make videos, right? To make a video
Right.
that goes along with the article. And Michelle Blevins encouraged me to do that too, from Restoration and Remediation magazine. And so that's definitely out of the comfort zone, to
Right.
put a video, and they're super
Sure.
cringy, but like you said, it's relatable to the end user. If you're trying to get customers outside of the traditional, TPAs or insurance agents.
Right. And which I think is important, because at some point you're going to get kicked off the program, or that program's going to end, and you're going to need work. But, this isn't something I see a lot of fruits from now, but I'm thinking more 5-10 years down the line. I think it's going to be a big deal. People are going to remember.
Well, one thing we've considered too is it's not just, it's also for talent acquisition, right? You're relating to people that are in the workforce. And so I think when people are looking at, say they're looking on LinkedIn or one of the other websites for jobs, and they see your company, they're going to look, younger people especially, are going to look, do you have a social media footprint? And so it's a way of communicating to the talent pool as well.
Yeah. No, we've had people reach out and say, man, you guys take care of your employees. You love your employees. That looks like somewhere I want to be.
Yep.
But I mean, and the other businesses down the street could be doing the same thing, and they could love their employees and be taking care of them better than we do.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're talking about it and they know about it, you're a step ahead there.
Well, and it's the other part of it, it's free, right? I mean, it's you're not necessarily making money from Water Damage Daily, but it's free to do. And as an entrepreneur, you can think through, I could try this, or I could try this. There's free ways to try to monetize it or optimize it. And, it doesn't cost anything but time, which, as a young father, that not something we have loads of. So, well, that's awesome. I thank you for cutting the time out. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while. Thank you for
well, thanks for having me.
The service to the industry. I know every morning, I check it and I always get a chuckle. You do a great job of keeping it real.
That's the goal, is that, we deal with a lot of stuff in our industry. So we need a laugh.
Yep.
Hopefully I can provide that. So
100%. Well, I know you were talking about you don't want to offend anybody, but I really don't see, in my opinion, I haven't seen anything that's like, would really get somebody into trouble. But, some people are more sensitive than others.
Well, it's like, I poke at Serpro a little bit, or each service master, whatever. But like the TPAs, I made that Napoleon Dynamite one where he's counting his change. He's like, oh, it's like $1 an hour. What it's like, because they beat you up and stuff. But you just gotta learn how to play the game. You'll be all right.
Yeah, there's been some funny memes lately. The TPA's beating the TPA versus my estimate. So hopefully, well, there's I think you mentioned like Ed Cross of the RIA. Hopefully, there's a lot of good things happening in the works.
I'm hoping so. It looks like it.
Collaborate and elevate that to where it's something more sustainable. Awesome, man. Well, thank you for joining us. Any other closing thoughts or?
No, maybe discussions for another time, but.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time, and we'll have to catch up soon. Water Damage Daily is on Instagram, and it's at Water Damage Daily, all one word. Any other venues that you're currently distributing that through?
No, I put a poll out maybe like 5 or 6 months ago if I should kind of transfer it over to Facebook as well. But everyone said Instagram's the place, and it's like 10% people said to go to Facebook. So it didn't really see a need to.
Well, I've even some of the hype videos we tried. Just I tried posting them on LinkedIn, and it didn't seem like it had the same traction. And I think that's a thought for people too. You can't always just post the same content on every stream and expect the same results. They're different crowds.
Well, even if you did post the same content, and Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this, you have to angle it towards your audience, because your audience on LinkedIn is different than Instagram. Your Facebook audience is different than your Instagram. So you got to find a way. I know he has people, Gary Vaynerchuk does, that they'll take one video, and he has the LinkedIn team, and they'll go angle it towards LinkedIn, and each social media outlet, which would be nice to have someone that can do that. But
yeah. So any interns out there that want to intern, and you do invite collaboration, right? So if anybody's watching or listening and has a funny idea, then direct message you there on Instagram.
100%.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll have to chat at you again soon.
Sounds good. Take care.
Do you really listen to podcasts while you run?
There's nothing that gets me more juiced up than the sweet sounds of the Dojo podcast.
I'm listening to it right now. It's the Django.
Okay, so I listen to Django
Podcast.
Turn it off, I'm done.
I'm done.
Can't you be like Lassie one time in your life?
Good help.
Oh.
Other than having to be in the minivan mafia.
Hey, I'm already in it, man. I've accepted it. It's what it is. I ran it first, but what sold me was as soon as I saw those freaking doors slide open and realized that my kids wouldn't be smacking other people's cars.
Yep.
I said, let's buy it.
We're done. Well, my wife cried when we bought our first one, but thankfully somebody gave us good advice to get the captain's chairs, and then that's obviously we want to be somewhat delicate with protecting your identity.
Yeah, so it's kind of unique, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe some people will know who I am. Maybe some won't, but it's not like.
You're not like guarding it with your life, but you're perpetuating the fun.
Yeah, which is
it's true, but
it's just so ignorant. It was such an ignorant comment.
Yeah,
I about lost my mind.